Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. And this is definitely going to be a great episode. This is the Vault, episode 591, Character Traits of Great Trustees. And this is definitely along with the Sunday Trustee Training series. Just didn't put it in the title. Pretty lengthy, but this is one of those ones that a lot of trustees will ask to hear and want to hear. So, just want to thank everybody that's going to be showing up to the workshop, first of all, on August the 24th. We've gotten rid of the tickets, so we're really thankful that we sold the tickets to the event. If anybody would like to get any last minute space in, it's going to be pretty pricey just because we really will have to really make high level accommodations. So, we appreciate everybody that got their tickets on time. We usually have limited event seating at events, so really thankful for that. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com if you just want to get a consultation at this point and get enrolled in trustee training. The workshop is a part of trustee training. So, what is trustee training? It's a training program that we have where we do one-on-one coaching, one-on-one mentorship. We do go over contracts. Everybody says they have private contracts, but that remains to be seen until we get on the line. And then once we get on the line, we find out that they're the beneficiary or they're the created entity. So this is the reason for trusteeship and trustee training. So today's episode, character traits of great trustees, and we're going to do our best to tie as many stories as we possibly can. This was inspired by a mentor of ours. Just thinking about so many moments with him immediately. This one in particular that we're thinking about, and how people can live up to these moments. And this is the separator between someone associating with a billionaire, someone associating with someone that has 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 the ability to help you out, to pass along wealth from one generation to the next. We thought about how this episode could be why it's so hard to be wealthy. But most people aren't going to be wealthy. So it's okay. We're going to talk to you all about the character traits that we thought about, the 6 inches between your head, the space in between your ears, your brain, the energy that it emits, and the character that it has to exude in order to be great at trusteeship. So we're going to go through it. One of the things that we want to share right from the beginning, one of the great traits is great trustees know how to separate business from personal. One of the hardest things to do, actually, for most people. Why? Because they don't know how to separate their business from their personal. They commingle it. That's how you know they're gonna commingle funds, because they commingle in the business mentality versus the personal mentality. Oh, trust Christian and vote. I got this that came up with my family. I got that came up with my family. First of all, families inside of trusteeship are going to have family challenges. That's personal. The great trustees know how to stick to the actual indenture. When you have family disputes, you go to the indenture. When family members say, I need money, you go to the indenture. When the family members say, where are you at today? You go to the indenture. I'm at the family board meeting because we have to have one every Sunday. That's the family indenture. Does the family indenture say that the family is going to have a meeting 52 times a year and have a board meeting? Does it say that? People say, oh, me, my, I. That's not separating the business from the personal. It's one of those things that that they don't. It's challenging to separate the business from the personal because people are thinking with their emotions, not thinking with their logic. Can be very challenging because the great trustees that separate the business from the personal, they're very logical. They lean into their logic. They lean into the black and white. Everybody says, "Oh, everything's not so black and white." Trust Christian in the vault. Everything's not black and white. It is in the indenture. The indenture is black ink on white paper. See, the trustees that try to make that gray area, they don't win. They don't win. It's one of those things. We'll give you an example of separating your business from your personal, separating emotions from the business. So, the particular mentor that we're thinking about, it was one of those things where we first came to the first meeting, probably about 7 minutes behind traffic. Sounds good. You know, what's 7 minutes? When you're meeting with somebody that you respect for the first time, someone you're looking for mentorship the first time, he nipped it in the bud right away. He said, trust Christian, before we would trust Christian. He said, trust Christian and the other gentleman we were sitting by who's gone through law school, who's been through trustee training. He says, trust Christian, if you ever show up late again, I'll never meet with you. Now, when you sit down, because you're already rushing, and you sit down with a mentor, potential mentor, who's been our mentor for years, who's been in our ear for years, who's been helpful for years, who picks up the phone, who sends actually holiday cards. It says, if you ever show up late to a meeting again, I'll never meet with you. Major great trustee lesson. Hard for most people to hear because they think you need a second chance in life. They think you need to be. You think that it's okay to do stuff like that. Oh well, a minute behind is okay. Promise you, that's what he said. Haven't been late to a meeting ever with him since. Always showed up extra early. If anything, it was funny to hear him when he finally showed up late to a meeting. And oh boy, he showed up when he left a message. He left a message and he was going off in the car because he doesn't call in the car. He doesn't like to call in the car. But you know, when you run into some traffic, as they call it, he went off. And it wasn't going off on us. It was going off just because he was frustrated with himself. He's frustrated with traffic. He values our time. We valued his time. And think about it. He remembers what he said to us. He remembers. That was his one time. So we're even. See how that works? Separate your business from your personal. So that goes into our second thing that what makes a great trustee is they're on time. So many trustees throughout the years come on trustee training. They think that it's okay to come on calls late. We had trustees say they weren't late. How you not late when you 5 minutes after? You're late. Late means you're not on time. That's a hard pill to swallow for people though, especially adults. It's interesting, you know, certain cultures will say they're on CP time, all these different things, whatever they want to call it, you know, retired people's time, you know, whatever it is. There's no excuse. It's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, that people think that they can't be on time for meetings, that they're not on time for meetings. Trust Christian vote. If we have one of those moments, we then are willing to give somebody their capital back. But the mentors trained us right. So great trustees, they show up early. They're on time to meetings. This is not a negotiable because the mentor said, I'll never meet with you again if you don't show up on time. Easy. Be objective. And this is one that goes into dealing with to separate the business from your personal. Because being objective means you're agenda focused. It's not about your feelings. It's about the goal. If the goal is trustee training, how do you stop halfway? Oh man, I'm gonna go through trustee training, but I didn't go through to the foundation. Right? You know how many people fall off? Is it the vault's fault? No. Is it cost? No. How you gonna want to be wealthy? You not willing to at least pay your tax liability that you paid for to go make sure you're in a position where that doesn't happen again. That just already sounds wild. This sounds wild. Somebody will say, "Oh man, I had a tax liability of $10,000." Then you should be willing to pay that to make sure you never have to deal with it ever again. Oh man, my tax liability was 40 grand. People we deal with people that making over $100,000 plus, $200,000. Yeah, I'm gonna go through trustee training. I'm trying to go the cheap route. I'm gonna go 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Oh, but your liability was $27,000 last year. You're not gonna deal with that ever again because of trustee training? That's what we talked about. What happened? They got they're not focused. They fell off. They they're looking at videos over the internet. That's half the battle. Looking at stuff over the internet. You got stuff in trustee training. We got a whole library for trustees. Do trustees go through and actually look at everything there first? Yeah, some of them do. We've had trustees literally listen to the entire few hundred episodes before they enrolled in the trustee training because they actually had an agenda. They were focused on being objective. Objective means I didn't get caught just at trusteeship and business and family. I went to charitable. Why? Because that's how you perpetuate your wealth from one generation to the next. People have charities, people have foundations. There's specific ones that they have. But people got caught up. I don't think I need a charity trust Christian vault. I barely got any money. I barely am passing that along to anybody. That's the differences. What's the agenda? What's your objectives? The great trustees have clear agendas. The great trustees have clear objectives. One day we were on the line with one of the mentors. He says, Trust Christian, it sounds like you're all over the place. But we knew what we were doing. And we'll finish what he said after that. He said, It sounds like you're all over the place, Trust Christian. You might need to quit. Now, how many of y'all could hear that from somebody that you respect? Somebody that you appreciate? Somebody that they don't make money off of you. And you don't make money off of them unless you do what they said. He said, Trust Christian Vote, I think you should quit. It sounds like you're all over the place. We still talk to him today. Still to this day. Because we were focused on the objective. That means surrounding ourselves with great mentors and great trustees. You're not going to have easy conversations with everyone in business. You're not going to have easy conversations with everyone in trusteeship. That's not how it works. Sometimes you got to fire people. Sometimes you have to hire people. These are not going to be easy conversations. It's not about easy conversations. It's about staying focused on the objective. It's about staying focused on the agenda. Recently, we had a delay in a package, and we had to get on the line with a trustee for a significant amount of days and just be accountable. We had to be accountable to the trustees and their family no matter what the emotion was. And those trustees as well, they got on the line because they were focused on their agenda. Their agenda was we need to make sure we get what we pay for. We need to make sure that we're doing what we said we were going to do, regardless of it being a delay. The situation got resolved. There are no hard feelings. They bring in 2 additional family members to the trustee training workshop because they understand the power of agenda. They understand the power of objectivity. It's too easy to quit when you're halfway there. You know how many trustees quit? Why? Because generational wealth ain't for everybody. It takes work. It takes families working together. That leads us into the next character trait of great trustees, which is they're persistent and consistent. Persistent meaning when the mentor tells you, oh man, I think you should quit. We didn't quit. We kept doing what we needed to do, which was become the best trustee we could possibly be for our families for generations to come. That's how it sounds. And when you sit in those rooms with successful people that are the great trustees, it's not a pretty moment all the time. It's not an easy conversation. You're going to hear things that go against your emotional belief system. Here's another one. Remember one day we were sitting in front of a mentor, actually. Sitting in front of a mentor. And this may happen to you one day, especially sitting in front of all. We had this happen a few times at the workshops where you say something to a trustee and their whole physiology changes, their whole body changes. It's almost like a lightning stroke hit their body. We've seen it happen many times. It happened to us before. And the mentor called it out when he immediately seen it. He said, "Trust Christian, it looks like I struck an emotional accord with you." Man, we had to, you don't play it off. You respond in proper kind. You say, well, what you just said was something that I wasn't aware of. It wasn't something that I'm not comfortable with. He said it. He said a few things. He said, said it a little differently than what we just said. But he did say, "Oh, this looks like I struck an emotional chord with you. Something that it's emotional for you." It's like, nah, it's not emotional. Actually, we're just straightening up. That's what we were doing. We were straightening up for the facts. Because somebody has more experience, somebody's got more wisdom, and we respected that. So now, oh wow, dang, okay, that was interesting. Didn't know it from that perspective, didn't know it from that angle. Time to tighten up, time to sit up, time to be upright. Character traits of great trustees: they can handle hard pieces of information. When the mentor says, "Don't show up late," when the mentor says, "Oh, looks like I struck an emotional chord with you," and you don't respond back in a disrespectful way. "Oh man, nah, you don't know what you're talking about." Nah, he does know what he's talking about. The man that sat in front of people that have lied to him for their family estate. Lied. So he knows when he can see information going in and it's being received or not being received. We sat in front of people at workshops ourselves. Trust Christians stood on stage and looked at people. We would say something, and their eyes and their body just shakes. Really? Well, I didn't think that. Trust Christian involved. Really, it was an emotional chord, not just a logical chord. It's an emotional chord. They're persistent. They say, you know what? Despite that information that you just gave me, I'm gonna be consistent and go back and study. I'm gonna be consistent in meeting with someone that continuously pours into me. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be consistent. Yeah, because that is the mark of a great trustee. Oh man, Trust Christian Vote, I got to cancel this week. Most of the time, they ain't got nothing to say. That's why they canceling the meeting. Because if you have something to talk about, you don't cancel the meeting. When you have something of value for your family, you don't cancel the meeting. When your family is important for the things that you're asking for, you don't cancel the meeting. We've had trustees reschedule. We had a trustee reach out the other day. One of the most important things you could do is just put somebody on notice. Whether it's a gentleman gives notice or a lady gives notice, you just give notice. Hey, Trust Christian Folk gonna be about 15 minutes late. Can we move it to this time? Sure. Then you're not late anymore because you put someone on notice. Great trustees know I put people on notice. You know when there's a notice of intent to sue? Yeah, I forgot about those. Notice of intent. Great trustees understand that consistency. They put it out there. They make it a point to say, I'm going to go study the information and come back with questions. Study the information and come back with questions. Study the information and come back with questions. When trustees don't have questions, we know what they're doing. Nothing. You don't have any questions because you're not in trusteeship. We sit on the line with our mentors 5 years deep every single week. 5 years deep every single week. Once a week. 5 years deep every single week. No, Trust Christian Evolve. I don't got that type of time. It's 128 hours in a week, and I don't have an hour for trustee training. I know you don't. That's the difference between the great trustees and the ones that are great. The great trustees, they have enough mentorship that's going in. Just 1 hour a week can make a difference in the trajectory of where you're going to go in the next month and in the next year. That's the difference. They're consistent. Unless you're ready to go to law school, how you gonna learn it? And then we deal with we deal with lawyers. They don't even know some of the stuff we know in trusteeship because they're not studying specific things. Here's the next one. The great trustees are coachable. They're egoless. So when the mentor says, "Oh, trust Christian, I think I just struck an emotional chord," we didn't fire back off like, "Hey, man, you don't know what you talk about, man." It's like, no, let me correct you. There wasn't an emotional negative chord struck. There was an awareness that was just brought to our attention, and that's important. That was a development that was brought to our attention, so we were super appreciative of it. Definitely appreciative of the awareness that was brought to our attention. Remember, that information is shared privately, not in the public. That information was shared for us to develop as trustees, not for us to be hurt, but to develop as trustees. Are you coachable? Are you going to come on time? Coachable. We got trustees that show up to a meeting without business attire. What makes you think you're going to go open up a bank for a family trust, for a family foundation, and you're not wearing business attire? That's coachable. That's knowing that, man, I got to actually be prepared to do business for my family. Not show up because you think you a trust fund baby now. Thinking like a beneficiary instead of thinking like a trustee, which is an asset manager. Characteristics of great trustees, they actually mirror their mentors. We mirror our mentors. Mentor comes on the line every week, says, "Oh man, I'm impressed with the way that you're dressed today." They don't even wear a tie every week. Sometimes, but they come on there with a dress shirt. It's a button-up shirt for sure, for sure. For all we know, they sit in their boxers. For all we know, they sit in their sitting in some shorts. But when we see them, they sitting there with a button-up shirt on. That's the difference. Are you mirroring and matching your mentor? Or is it just so easy to be casual? Casual trustees aren't great trustees. The great trustees are focused on doing business. They're focused on doing business. The great trustees are focused on doing what their mentors do, which is be asset managers, not trying to work a job, being an asset to somebody else's business. They're focused on acquiring assets, building assets, holding assets, selling assets, leasing assets. That's what the best trustees, the great trustees, are focused on. That's their character traits. That's what they're focused on. So they don't have an ego when a mentor says, "Well, what's your long-term plan?" What's your long-term plan, ladies and gentlemen? Why didn't think about that, Trust Christian Revolt? What's your 1 year plan? Most people don't have a plan, so you're not going to be a great trustee if you don't have a plan. We'll get on the line with trustees, say, "When you move into the next phase?" "I don't know, I'll let you know." Don't worry, we're not waiting for you. Great trustees got a plan. They're objective, they're agenda focused. Great trustees will listen to the vault, they'll go through the presentation, and they got a time frame in their head when they're going to have every entity, when they're going to have everything squared away, when they're going to have everything set up. The ones that don't, they don't make it. Character traits of great trustees, they're willing to do the work. You know how many people reach out to the vault and say they don't want to work? What kind of noise is that? They don't want to work. Now, granted, there's good work and bad work and hard work and easy work, but to hear someone say that they don't want to work, that means you're going to have assets in place. And you do have to work to get those assets in the beginning. Those are things that state whether you're coachable or not. Are you willing to develop your programming? Because most people have been given a public school program. So there's nothing wrong with that. They've been given a public school program. If you're going to develop yourself to a great trustee, now you got to get a private education. That's not going to be cheap. We still invest our private education to this day. Coachable. We still go to private trust conferences. That's the facts. Oh man, Trust Christian, how much do one of those conferences cost? We gonna pull up one right now for y'all since y'all want to talk about it. First of all, most of them on average cost more than $800. That's the facts. Most of them cost over $800. Why would they be cheaper than that? These environments are not trying. This is a barrier to entry. That's why you say, "Oh man, why is it so hard to be wealthy?" Because there's a barrier to entry to wealth. First of all, you can't even open up certain bank accounts with certain banks unless you have $25,000 saved up. The average American don't have $10,000 saved up. So clearly, you know why they're not in trusteeship. You know why they're not great trustees? Because they don't have a savings. They don't have hard tangible assets. Their greatest asset is their house that has debt on it, that they're afraid to refi out and actually put some money into quality business projects. But instead, think about it. They qualify for the house because they're W-2 income. Because they're W-2 income. Go to this one conference. This is actually an international conference that we're looking forward to going to. Oh, man. Looking forward to it, actually. International conference dealing with the Caribbean. For all you all that want to have second citizenships and things of that nature, the vault is always making it a point to expand so we can once again be international, make it a point to have international relationships and things of that nature. So you invest in those things. Oh man, Trust Christian Vault, I'm trying to deal with a foreign private trust. That's what I'm trying to deal in. Did you go to the private wealth conference? Did you go to the private conference for private people? Oh man, that's gonna cost me $800. That's gonna cost me $2,000. The bank told me I gotta have $25,000 to go into the account. Right. Look at this here. We can get the price on this one. Usually they don't even tell the price because they know that the people that really are gonna go, they don't really even care about the price. That's just the facts. You're gonna be in a room with people that are gonna share with you how to make sure you got a second citizenship. You and your family. People are traveling to all these second countries. Oh man, Trust Christian in the vault. I'm going to this. I'm going to this place. I'm going to that place. Uh, did you find out about how to invest by citizenship or citizenship by investment? Oh man, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, you can actually acquire a second citizenship. Well, doesn't the United States shun that? Not at all. The United States has a U.S. EB-5 program. They're trying to get people to come in the United States. It's called the U.S. EB-5 program. So how are you going to say, because of this is, you don't want to hear it, we're going to say it's called broke people knowledge. Oh man, the United States doesn't want people to have a second citizenship. Why not? What are you talking about? All your government officials got second citizenships dang near. What's this conference cost? $2,900. Y'all paying $2,900 to go to a private wealth conference? Here we go. Let's talk about who's going to be there. Since you want to talk about it, the Secretary of Commerce for the United States, one of the ex ones, the founder of an international brokerage. Since y'all want to trade over the internet, I'm going to trade over the internet. Right. Are you with an international brokerage? Another one. This guy, investment banking, private equity. Bam. Trust Christian Vault, I'm trying to get my private trust funded. Did you go into private equity? You got people for private law firms. You heard about the public law firms, but you didn't hear about the private law firms. They're usually for high net worth investors. Well, save up your chips and go to the private wealth conference. International investment funds. You got people, once again, that are sitting in the room to help you get a second citizenship, a third citizenship, a fourth citizenship. Oh man, Trust Christian Vault, I don't think the government of the United States like me having another citizenship. What are you talking about? Stop hanging around people that don't know what they're talking about. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. At this particular conference that cost $2,900, this is where we found a specific company that was leasing their private gold and silver to government. So how are you going to sit here and say, oh man, if I went to public school, I'm good? Yeah, we know. But the ones that say, oh man, I don't know if I want to invest $2,900, now you have the relationship that you can find so you can lease your gold and silver to the government and make a passive income off of it. But instead, oh no, Trust Christian, that's a little pricey. $2,900, we ain't going on vacation. That's a month's worth of paycheck. Oh man, Trust Christian, how do I get the accounting? How do I get the accounting down? When you're the trustee, when you're supposed to be in the room with international accounting firms. Since you're a private international trusteeship, you need to be in a room with private international accounting firms or international accounting firms. I can't afford that, Trust Christian Paul. What happens when you have the relationship before you have the money? You're good. The relationship is just as valuable as the money. Because once you get the money, if you get the money and you don't have a relationship, some people don't even understand. Like at that point, you might as well say you're going to spend more money at that point because you didn't have the relationship. You didn't cultivate the relationship. What's private lending? This goes into coachability. What's private lending? Everybody knows about public lending. I don't know about the private lending stuff, Trust Christian. Finding people that could be some of the best trustees that could sit on your board. That's what it is. Being able to have those people around. Be able to have those people on call. When you're able to get in front of somebody and shake their hand, it makes the world of a difference. It makes the world of a difference. Because not to say somebody thinks they can trust you, it's the fact that you have the opportunity now, then they have the opportunity to look you square in your eyes. Not to say they're going to judge you, but they have the opportunity to look you square in your eyes and say, okay, I met this person face to face. Somebody reached out through the vault email or through the chat right now. They said, what publication is that in? We're not exactly sure what they're referencing. So if you can give a little bit more detail, please feel free to reach out. Coachability. Are you in student mentality? Are you still we got trustees that have gone to 3 and 4 private workshops that we've had that have been with the vault for 3 to 5 years because they understand the value. That's the facts. They've been involved in the environment for 3 to 5 years. They go to the workshops. They don't stop going to the workshops. Why? Because the vault, we're doing our best to bring value to them so they already understand the value. They've already been presented. And we pour it into families. That's what we do. We pour into the families. It's about the families. Whether it's an individual, it's fine. If you're an individual, it's fine. We still pour into the individuals. We still pour into the families. We make it a point to show up. Team player. This is a hard one for some cultures right now. This is a hard one. Why? Because they got to go back to that coachability and that last part of it, which is called egoless. They let go of their ego and they focus on being a team player. We actually got this one family. So once again, it's just disclosure. We're not going to share all the details of names and things like that. But what happened was we had the matriarchs of the family come forth, and they have sons. But they're not letting the sons be as a fiduciary. What kind of ego as a man do you have when your mom don't let you be a fiduciary? That's not important. They're focused on supporting and being there in any capacity that they can. Okay, let's keep going with it. Okay, the matriarchs came forth. It was actually quite a few matriarchs that came forth. So shout out to that family if y'all know who we talking about, or have an idea who we referencing right now. So this family once again is pretty much predominant female based. Just because of the structure of the family, but there are some marriages inside of the structure. Once again, inside of the foundation, so you can see that they're all working together. This is a multi-generational family. Three generations actually sit in the room, and so once again, some of the youngest people in the room of that family are the gentlemen, and the gentlemen are in their 20s. They are active. Maybe one of them is in their 30s, but for sure in their 20s, and they are active out looking to contribute to the family estate. And because they're just because of the way the structure is set up right now, they haven't been voted in to make financial decisions. Hey, Trust Christian and Vote, they're all in different states. Did y'all know that? They're in different states. They plan out their meetings still. They plan out their meetings. The gentlemen are, oh man, I'm the man of the house. I'm the man. We supposed to be fiduciary capacity. We can't let y'all have all the decisions. We giving our money to the family estate and y'all making the financial decisions. That's not team player mentality. Team player mentality says, I'm going to adjust my schedule to the family estate. You adjust your family to the family estate. You had a family, you're right. But then what happens when families go through things? You're going to fall back on the family estate. The family estate is what people fall back on because there's stability there. There's a structure there. There's an indenture in place to give us guidance in different times. The families plan for these things. They plan for divorces. They plan for outside marriages to come in. They plan for what is it? What is it? Mixed families, blended families. That's what they're called. Blended families. We interviewed a third generation trustee that has a blended family. Third generation trustee. They making sure that their specific ones have the education, blended or not. They're making sure their particular side of the family has generational wealth. That comes from having two generations previous to you put a structure in place. That comes from the family estate saying, look, you're going to contribute regardless of your own family. You're going to be present regardless of your own family. We're going to have meetings regardless of what you have going on. How do you miss a board trustee meeting for your family estate when you're a senior trustee? Not a junior, not a non-voting, a senior trustee. You plan your schedule around the family estate. When they have family board meetings, when they have family meetings, you just plan your family around it. It's not hard. It's very simple. You plan your meetings around it. And what happens when you find out that your family vacation falls on a family meeting? You figure it out. You say, oh man, you know what? We either gonna go and I'm gonna take the call while we're gonna take the call while we're on the family estate, and while we're traveling or whatever, or we're gonna go do what's more important, which is focus on the family estate. Because whether you know it or not, the family estate's gonna be there for you if something happens to you, and now the family estate has to step in place for you. Whether that's through insurance, whether that's through the trustees administering the insurance to your family, that's the structure that we're talking about. That's the team player mentality. Is knowing that it's not about you, knowing that the family estate can step in for you when things happen. But what happens when people are selfish? They don't have the character traits of great trustees. Great trustees do their best to stay close to the fire. Fire meaning they stay close to the family estate where things are good and things are great, where they can continuously grow. Once again, character traits of great trustees. Player mentality, team player mentality, coachable mentality. Eagle is persistent, consistent. They're objective. They're agenda focused. They're on time. They separate the business from the personal. They're focused. Character traits of a great trustee is they keep their word. Tough pill to swallow because what they say, talk is cheap. Trust Christian. That's what the mentor said to us. Talk is cheap. Money talks and everything else walks. One of the mentors, being a great trustee, he said, Trust Christian and vote if you ever show up to a meeting and you don't pay for lunch, I'll never meet with you again. Some people say, oh man, trust Christian in the vault. I can't believe somebody would say that to another human being. And they think that that's okay. Well, it depends on how bad you want the relationship. How many of your family members were great trustees? Right. We were focused on getting information from the great trustee. So the mentor, if it was something that if it wasn't moral, we didn't give a dang. It sounded pretty straight up and legal from there. So we focused on building a relationship. Not focused on, oh man, trust Christian in the vault. I can't believe somebody would say something that harsh to somebody. I can't believe they would say that to you if you don't have your wallet. It wasn't like he was saying we gotta go to eat at 5-star restaurants. We've eaten at IHOP before. No promotion to IHOP, but it's not like we eating at IHOP. He just said, like, straight up, trust Christian, you're not paying me for my time. But the way that you're going to show me that you have a level of appreciation and respect for my time means you're going to pay for the meal when we're sitting here. That's the least you could do. He said, and guess what? The one time that you show up without it will be the last time you see me. Now, see, this is the worst part about it. Some people were willing to risk it. I promise you, with all my heart, I've never missed it. With all my heart, I have respect for that man. I have never not paid for a meal. Whether it's the family estate paying for it, y'all know what we're saying. We don't need to use that I word, but y'all understand where we're coming from in this particular episode. The mentor laid down the rules. He laid down the indenture of the trust relationship. But how many people are willing to stick to it? Oh man, you know how many times we done pat ourselves down before we done ran out the house? Pat, pat, pat. Check the bank account. First of all, he already said don't show up late. Now you gotta make sure you pay for the meal. I mean, it's getting real indenture and trust like. There's rules to it. That's how it looked. That's how it looked. So we showed up on time. We were early. And he made sure. What is it to you to get trustee training? Oh man, $300. We just went over that most private wealth environments cost $1,000+ to get into. It's a barrier to entry for this wealth stuff. Trusteeship got a barrier to entry. Oh man, Trust Christian Vault, what you mean? I can't get trustee training for a couple $100. Are you looking to build generational wealth? Or are you just trying to not pay the government? I don't want the government in my pocket. I'm trying to save a few nickels and dimes here and there so I can go on a vacation. I never seen an international country before. I'm trying to go international, Trust Christian in the Vault. So I need to be an international entity. Right. But are you willing to pay the price? Characteristics of great trustees, they have no problem with paying the price. And they stop using the word spend money because it's an investment into your mentality. It's an investment into your future. Characteristics of great trustees, here you go. This is actually one of the most important ones, and we're going to wrap it up here. They have a great attitude. This might be hard for people to hear about Trust Christian in the Vault. Because first of all, we sit on the line with successful and ultra successful people. And they ain't never said nothing about Trust Christian's attitude. Oh man, Trust Christian, you hard. No, they harder than us. We just told you how ruthless the mentors are. How you gonna sit here and say Trust Christian in the Vault is hard? We ain't hard. The mentors is hard. We don't even care to tell trustees to pay for the meals. Because we don't go to IHOP and eat. Trust Christian in the Vault ain't eating at no IHOP. The trustee came through the other week, said, oh yeah, after the meeting, hey, we gonna go eat at IHOP. See ya. Any other time, we're looking to build a relationship because that's what it's about, building a relationship, allowing somebody to think that they can trust you when they need you. That's why we started Trustee Training, is so you can have an environment where you can build relationships. One of the biggest things is the attitude. It's the attitude of gratitude. There was this one trustee this past week said, "Hey, Trust Christian Vote, I need to move the meeting back a little bit." Came on the line, super thankful, always thankful. Before we get off the line, "Hey, is there anything I can do for you?" "Nah, you're good. Appreciate you for just doing what you're supposed to do. Appreciate you for doing your homework, doing the test." You got some trustees that don't even want to do the homework. Great trustees gonna do the homework. Great trustees got a good attitude. One of the mentors, he come on the line, he say, "Very pleasant good day, Trust Christian. Very pleasant good day." Every time. Every time. "Oh, how you doing today, mentor?" "Well, the Lord's given me another day, so all I can do is just say thank you and be joyful and happy." Now you think about that. You think this man don't go through real life situations? We done sat on the line with this man. He done told us he had to pay people millions of dollars so he didn't have to deal with them no more. That's a hard pill for somebody to swallow anyways. We're not going to elaborate on that. Then you got people that tried to sue him as a trustee because he's a manager of people's family estate. So you got the beneficiaries that want to sue the trustee because they think that they supposed to get something that they not. So you got now, you managing an estate for somebody's family, and you got the beneficiary suing you. And when we call, "How you doing today, mentor?" "Very pleasant good day. Another day that the Lord has given me is a blessed day." "Man, I can't have a bad day no more." We ain't had a bad day in years. Every time we talk to the mentor, "Very pleasant good day." It's interesting, some of the most successful people that we talk to are always, "Everything's a blessed day. Everything's a righteous day. Everything's a joyful day. Everything's a peaceful day." It's like, man, when am I going to catch you slipping? Am I going to catch you slipping? And we ain't caught the mentor slipping yet. We ain't caught the mentor slipping. Waiting. When you going to catch the mentor slipping? "How you doing today, mentor?" "Everything's a blessed day in the eyes of the Lord. You're being given another blessed day." To manage other people's family estate. And they suing you. Saying you're not doing your job as the trustee. Mentors still say that when they fire people too. The mentor says he's having a blessed, positive day when he firing people from when he fires somebody from doing work for the trust and things of that nature. Because it's the attitude. His attitude is he could figure out anything. His attitude is I got the mentality. I'm gonna figure out this situation. I'm gonna make it a point to always come up with a solution. Not everybody has it in them, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't for everybody. Character traits of great trustees. This isn't for everybody. That's why everybody's not a trustee. That's why everybody's not a voting trustee. That's why everybody's not a fiduciary trustee. That's all that is. Well, that's so important, man. Just thinking about, out of all the things we talked about, if somebody just had an attitude of gratitude, if somebody just had an attitude of positivity, and it's like, "Well, what do you mean, Trust Christian? Ain't no bad days." Look, I'm trying to tell you, we trying to catch the mentor slipping and haven't. Every week for 5 years. "How you doing today, mentor?" "Oh man, everything's blessed in the eyes of the Lord." Like we just keep repeating it because we keep saying it because at one point when you match or marry your mentor, you just, "Oh, that's what I am." We got mentors, trustees. We actually have trustees that come on the line and we're always excellent, so the trustees will say, "Oh, I'm excellent." We understand that they're doing their best to be the best. That's all we can do, ladies and gentlemen, is do our best. So if you're doing your best, then it's the best day you ever had in your life. Really, it's the best day of your life. Every day we come on with them. Every week we come on the mentors. It's the best day of his life because he's here for another day to serve. That's what we're looking forward to at the next trustee training. We appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Definitely encourage you to pass this episode along to your team so they can hear some of the best practices, but really more like character traits of things that you have as a great trustee. Once again, Christian at trustchristian.com. Definitely have sold the tickets to the trustee training. It was limited seating, and so that's how that goes, ladies and gentlemen. We know that the flyer is going to be updated this week. We definitely are thankful for the trustees that have inquired to be in the room. We always appreciate that. Feel free to hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Feel free to be in tune with trustee training as we post episodes, so you can get the notifications. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in live, listening, and in the replay. Peace and joy. Everybody coming to the workshop, thank you for that. Safe travels, peace, and joy.